Now it's time to go ahead and finish off this door handle and get it done. So next thing I'm going to do is create the actual handle piece that you would grab to go ahead and open the door. So I'm going to create that starting with a cylinder. So I'm going to go back to the creation tab. I'm going to grab myself a cylinder and make sure auto grid is turned on. And I'm just going to draw a cylinder on top of the object like this. Okay. I'm going to make sure it has 8 sides. And I don't want any height segments, just one, and one cap segment is good. Okay, let me turn this to convert that to an editable poly. Take the back polygon, get rid of it because we don't need it. Place this so that it penetrates into the yellow object, the base of the handle, just a little bit. In terms of size, I think I'm going to say that I'm happy with that size right there. I'm going to go ahead and activate my NURBS toggle, make this a sub D. And let's go ahead and let's play around with this. So I'm going to move this to about right here. I'm going to extrude this polygon out a little bit, basically to create myself a little area here where I can build off this doorknob piece and branch it off. Okay, so I'm going to use maybe these 2 polygons down here to go ahead and get that done. But first, let me take this polygon that's right here, and let me create this little button here, which is the little lock button, I guess, for the door handle. So I'm going to use the inset tool here. I'm going to go to the options, and I'm going to lower the inset amount to something like, this is pretty good. I don't want a button that's too big. Something like that's fine. Now I'm going to go up here and under the selection rollout in the modify tab, hold down control and hit the edge button to select the edges of the polygon. Since I've already shown you how to do that a couple of times, I'm not going to explain that again. From now on, I'm just going to go ahead and select the edges from the polygon, and you'll know what I'm talking about because we've already done this a couple of times. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chamfer this, and I'm going to reduce the chamfer and make a very small chamfer. Something like this is fine. And I'm going to add 2 segments and hit OK. Then I'm going to take the polygon that's in here in the middle, and I'm going to move it into the object. And if I turn off the NURBS toggle, you can see what I'm doing. See that? And what I'm going to do is just pull that in. Doesn't matter how far back, so about that much is fine. I'm going to select the edges that belong to that polygon, and I'm going to chamfer that with 1 segment, just a little small chamfer, and hit OK. Then I'm going to select the middle polygon, and I'm going to scale it down just a little bit. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude that polygon. Not too far, just make it stick out of the door handle piece like that a little bit. Now I'm going to select the edges from that polygon and I'm going to chamfer that. Very small amount with about, let's see, 2 segments is probably going to be just fine. Hit OK, then activate my NURBS, and that's what I have. Let me go ahead and let me go down to the subdivision surface, and you can do this quick. If you right click in any open area here of your rollouts, of any of these rollouts, you get kind of like this little mini quick selection menu that allows you to quickly jump to the different rollouts that are available. So for example, if I want to go to subdivision surface, I can just click on that and it takes me straight to it and opens it up for me, instead of having to try to click and scroll and drag across this thing, which wastes a lot of time. So you're going to see me using that little tool quite a bit. So let me use 2 iterations just to make this look smoother. And if I render that out, you can see what I'm starting to have. Starting to look more like the object that I need. In terms of size, I'm going to select the whole thing. I'm going to scale it up just a little bit like that. I don't want it to be too small or too big either. So I'm not going to be too picky about that. I'm going to select these 2 polygons that are in the bottom corner down here. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the extrude options. I'm going to extrude that just a little bit, something like this. I'm going to hit OK. Alright, what I want to do is use the scale tool, but I want to change the coordinate. Okay, right now the coordinates are based on view mode. You can do it up here. You can go to this drop down list up here and switch to local mode, or you can hold down the Alt key and then right click to open up an alternate quad menu here that allows you quick access to these different coordinate modes. As you can see, this is what I like to use, and this is probably what I'll be using from now on, just because I like to move quickly and not waste a lot of time. So I'm going to scale this in the Z-axis to kind of flatten that out, make it more of a straight surface, as opposed to having all those crazy angles that it had. And I'm going to scale this into Y so it gets kind of flattened down and skinny, because that's what I'm going to end up needing. Now I'm just going to go ahead and extrude these two polygons again. These two polygons are going to be very important because I'm going to use these guys to establish the shape here of the rest of my door handle. So basically the piece of the door handle that a person would actually grab with their hand. This little piece of geometry is the little piece that's going to allow me to do that. So I'm going to just keep extruding this. There's no set rule as to how to extrude this. It's just the basic idea of using your mind's 3D eye along with this image here to go ahead and create yourself the geometry that's needed to get the job done. Okay, so I'm going to go with something about like this. Probably looks pretty good. Okay, I'm going to go to vertex mode, take all these vertices in here, so basically all of these, and I'm going to move them in like this to make this piece here a little bit skinnier like that. I'm going to take those polygons that are on the end, I'm going to extrude them like this, bring them a little bit closer, and I'm going to use the scale tool here to kind of pull this out like this, make it a little bit wider. Maybe not too much, something like that's fine. Okay, and I'm also going to go ahead and extrude this out like this, or scale it I should say, not extrude, just to make that a little bit bigger. Now this edge down here doesn't have to be pulled down like that, so I'm going to move it back up here. Same with this edge in the middle. Okay, I'm going to go back to those polygons that are right there, and I'm going to extrude these guys, and I'm going to try to get the shape that I need for this object over here. So I'm going to go with something about like this maybe. I'm going to extrude again. Bring this out to over here. Rotate it a little bit. Just establishing my shape at the moment. I'm going to scale that down a bit so it gets a little bit skinnier there, so it's not too big on me. Alright, I'm going to take this edge here and the edge on the other side, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to the edit edges rollout. Editor, edit that video. Start again. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to go over here to the edit geometry rollout. And I'm going to turn on, let me turn on face constraint over here. And move that up like that. So those edges get moved up on their face, on their polygon face like so. I'm going to select that edge and one on the opposite side. I'm going to do the same with these guys. So I'm going to move them up like that. Okay. Now with that done, what I'm going to do is go to edge mode, select one of these edges, and select the ring all the way around. Now you want to make sure that you go back to edit geometry and you turn off the constraint. So set it back to none, or else you're going to end up running into some problems real soon. So I'm going to go over here and connect these edges. I'm going to connect that twice. And the pinch, I'm going to go ahead and leave the pinch alone at 0 and slide at 0 and hit OK. Alright? So we start to get something like this. Now we're still not done yet, so let me go ahead and show you what we're going to do here. I'm going to go to edge mode. I'm going to select that edge that's right there, the edge on the opposite side, so these two lower edges. And if it's a little bit hard to see your cage, remember that you can always go to your Subdivision Surface rollout parameters down here, and the default colors are like this orange and yellow, which may not be the best. So we can actually change that. So for example, we can take the orange wireframe and we can make that say a blue or even a bright green, which actually is very visible, a bright green like this. And then when we have a piece of geometry selected, instead of having it highlighted in yellow, which is a little bit hard to see, you can maybe have it highlighted in red, which is much easier to see. So that can actually help you to work a little bit easier, and it's a little bit less strainful on your eye. Okay? So I'm going to move this up to about here, like this. Okay, that's not bad. Alright. And what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to go to vertex mode, select the vertices here on the ends, and these vertices, I'm going to move them, but I'm going to go back to my edit geometry rollout, and I'm going to turn on edge constraint, so that when I move these guys, they move based on the edge. See that? So they move diagonally and perfectly where I need them to move. So I'll just pull them back, something like that. And what that's going to do, it's going to create for me a pretty nice shape right there at the door handle. Very similar to the picture, which is what I need. Okay, last but not least, what I'm going to do is finish this off by going to edge mode, selecting that edge that's right there, and then grabbing its ring. Then I'm going to use the connect tool. I'm going to connect this with one segment. You can see the segment in the middle. What I want to do is move the segment toward the right over here to the edge of the door handle. So I'll use the slide parameter to do that. So I'll move it till it's pretty close, not right on top of it. You do not want it to be right on top. Never do that. So just get it really close and hit OK. Now if I render this out, it's got a nice sharp edge all the way around like that. If I want the sharp edge on the other side, which I do, which is going to look pretty interesting, I'll select this edge on the other side, or this edge, basically any edge in this entire ring. Select the ring right there so you can see what I have selected. See that? I'm going to go ahead and connect that one time. And -90 looks like it works fine, so I'll hit OK. And it makes a pretty nice sharp edge right there. See that? That looks pretty nice. It looks like a manufactured piece of metal or something like that. Okay, awesome. So there we go. So we got the door handle done. Okay, next thing to do to this, to go ahead and finish this door. The next thing to do to this, in order to finish this doorknob off, we're going to go ahead and just symmetrize this. We have to get this symmetrized to the other side because we need two door handles, not one. So let me go ahead and select the main base object here. Go to attach and attach the door handle. We're not going to attach the lock piece here simply because only the left side here is going to have the lock piece. The handle on the right side is not going to have the lock piece because we only need one lock piece. So in this case, we're not going to attach it just yet. What I'm going to do is take this guy and I'm going to symmetrize him. Let me go over here and I'm going to go to Subdivision Surface and take the iterations down to 1. Okay? Now, something's going to happen here very important. I'm going to go ahead and make a mistake on purpose just so that you know what to do if you run into this problem. Okay? If this object has NURBS toggle turned on right now, and I go ahead and I go to my modifiers, go to Mesh Editing, I go to Symmetry. Okay? And you can see here that the symmetrized object actually is already subdivided. As you can see, it's already got the geometry from a high-res sub-D object, which is not good. You don't want that to happen during the symmetry phase because you'll end up running into problems, namely this one right here. So, in order to keep the original object and not have it get subdivided automatically for you by 3ds Max by mistake, what you want to do is don't add the symmetry yet. Turn NURBS toggle off first so you're back down to the base low-res object, okay? And now what you want to do is add your symmetry modifier, okay? So keep that in mind. Always remember that. What I'm going to do is go here to symmetry and I'm going to grab the mirror object, which is this little gizmo here, alright? I'm going to go ahead and select flip. And you can see as I move this gizmo, it gives me a mirrored object. If I place the gizmo on this edge of the door here that's exactly down the middle, I'll have myself a perfectly symmetrized door handle set, okay? And the left one and the right one will be exactly where they need to be in 3D space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my grid and snap settings. Okay, we've done that before. And you want to make sure that edge segment mode is turned on and none of the other ones are turned on. Make sure they're all off except for edge segment. Okay. Now I'm going to take it and snap it. Editor, something weird is going on. Looks like Max is bugging out. Jesus Christ. Perfect time for this shit to happen. Hang on. Editor, edit that of the video. Max had a crazy, stupid fucking bug. edit that out of the video starting again. 3, 2, 1. So just take this and snap it to... That's not where I want to snap it. I want to snap it. And go ahead and snap it right there to the center edge. Okay. And once you do that, you're pretty much done. Now you can go ahead and collapse the modifier stack. And once you do that, at this point I can go ahead and turn my NURBS toggle back on. See that? And now I can increase my iterations to something like 2 or 3 or whatever looks nice and smooth. Depending on how close the camera is going to be. If this thing is never going to be closer than this to the camera, it's pretty far away, then iterations of 1 is going to be more than enough. It's going to suffice. See that? You can't even tell. Okay. Now, if you're going to be looking at this from real close like this, obviously 1 iteration is not going to be enough. So it's very important to understand that. So maybe 2 iterations. If that's still not enough because you're looking at it from very close up, you might want to go ahead and make this up to 3 iterations. I'm going to go ahead and go with 2 because if not, Max is going to slow down quite a bit, and I don't want that to happen. In fact, I might even just go with 1 at the moment. Okay. I'm going to take the base object here, go to attach the little lock piece, and there we go. The front door knob is now complete. Alright, so I'm done with this video. In the next one, we're going to continue working on more doorknobs for the rest of the house because we got a lot of doors in this house.